Tom, who I know is super busy with SI and MLB and Fox, nice enough to join us now. Tom, pretty amazing game, and what Don and I opened the show with, and I don't know if you feel this way, I thought that the Chicago Cubs won the championship despite an awful managing job by Joe Maddon last night.
That's a good way to put it. You could also throw Game 6 in there as well. With
they
the
bleed into each other.
Stuff. Yeah, they do. One did have an effect on the other one. I would agree with you. I mean, listen, Joe, to me, he loves doing things outside of the box. I like to say sometimes he just gets too cute with the game. What's really interesting to me is, of course, we get meetings with Joe before and with Terry before the games, and Joe flat out told us, listen, I'll use Lester, but I will not bring him into a game with runners on base. I want him to start the inning clean. And what happened? A walk by Kyle Hendricks, which to me really should have been a strikeout. Yep. The umpire missed the call. The guy was still in control of the game. I still want him on the mound. So he brings Lester in with a guy on base in the middle of an inning. I mean, I know he wanted him on Kipnis. He told me that was why he brought him in. But John Lester's not a matchup relief guy. You can't bring him in with runners on base. And I thought starting the carousel right there in terms of bullpen usage was not the right time to do it. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I think there's a lot of times I try to manage along with Joe Maddon. I've kind of given up on it because he is so outside the box. But his team won.
I know. It's amazing.
I don't know whether that validates what he did or they won in spite of him. I don't know.
And what it does is fuel the biggest issue, and that's ego. This is not incompetence. He knows so much baseball, it's ridiculous. And I don't mind him lying about when he's going to use them. All managers end up doing that, and sometimes they change their mind or they actually go with their gut. But this is all ego, isn't it? I mean, he wants to make decisions and have his little personal signature on it because anybody can do it the conventional way. He's got to do it Maddon's way.
Well, I'll say this, that there's a lot of it, too, where he gives up on some of these relief pitchers. So he was dealing with a shorter deck than Terry Francona. You know, he just, Rendon, Grimm, a couple of these guys he just got off of and wasn't going back to him. Even Strope, you know, if they had a bad outing or a bad couple of batters, a little bit of shakiness with command, he would just get off them. And he was down basically to Edwards and Montgomery as the two guys to get to Chapman. And then yesterday, of course, the starting pitcher. But, yeah, I don't know whether it's about ego or not, Don. I think he just likes doing things in the game. He just has fun running a game, if that's the right way to put it, where he wants to just do a lot of different things. You know, he's not the kind of guy that just leaves the game in the hands of his players. He wants to insert himself into a game for whatever reason.
I wonder, in a quiet moment, if Theo was upset with him. I mean, you can't be happy. I mean, Theo, you know, assembles this masterpiece of a roster, and they almost blew it. I mean, I know Theo hired Maddon, went out of his way, fired Renteria to bring in Maddon. I wonder how upset Theo would have been last night.
Yeah, well, all's well that ends well, right? But if it didn't end well, yeah, I think there would be, because, you know, I think Theo does a great job balancing kind of old school and new school. I mean, he is into the analytics. We all know that. But he does a really good job honoring, you know, the scout's perspective as well. He's not all in on just the numbers. But he had to know, you know, using Chapman in the seventh inning with a 5-run lead, that's not even close to a high-leverage situation. And what got me the other night, guys, on Game 6 is, you know, he wasn't prepared to have someone behind Chapman when Rizzo hit the home run. And we had the pictures of Bosio and Joe in the dugout, back and forth. Guys, there's nothing to talk about. Just as soon as he hits the home run, get somebody up. And it took so long, they had to get Chapman back on the mound to do his 8-pitch warm-up and then pitch to the next guy, which he walked. You know, you can argue that had some effect or not on Game 7. I don't know, but certainly it was unnecessary, and it happened because the manager just wasn't prepared to have someone behind him. That one struck me as odd. You know, if you want to bring him in the seventh inning with a 5-run lead, I sort of get that one. It was, to me, a little early to pull that trigger, but not having someone as soon as Rizzo gives you that 7-run lead, that shouldn't have happened.
See, that's what gets me the most, Tom. I agree with you. If you want to bring him in the seventh because you're getting a little nervous and, you know, a 3-run home run makes it 7-5, okay, you could sell me that. But by not having a guy up, that crosses the line to incompetence. That's not just a decision. That's incompetence, and even admitted that he made a mistake. And you know, you're supposed to be on your game in the biggest games of the year. How could you not have a guy up just in case they score a couple of runs?
Yeah, and when I talked to Bosio about that, I really got the sense that Boz was the one who really talked him into it, finally, in terms of getting somebody up.
Wow.
He just clearly wasn't comfortable with anybody else in that game, no matter what the score, which, listen, I know what the got all these percentages now, the 97% chance you win the game there with a 5-run lead in the 7th inning, and certainly it went through the roof once he hit the home run. But I mean, listen, if you don't have, he's got 5 guys in his bullpen that's keep him from scoring 7 runs before you get 3 outs. I mean, that game was in hand. There's no reason to have your closer on the mound.